We're a little nervous today, but hi everyone. Welcome back to the Kia Hyundai channel. I'm Gabby, and right behind me is the 2025 Hyundai Kona Preferred Plus Trend Package. Now, if you are Canadian like us, this is a Canadian spec. However, if you're watching from the States or some other region, your trims and specs may vary. However, in today's video, we're going to give you a full in-depth walkthrough of everything you need to know about this specific trim level. And I promise you, I'll get the price right off the bat. It is $32,949 Canadian, and that is because the Preferred Plus Trend is a $4,000 upgrade. It's a $2,000 upcharge to get the Trend package. However, you also have to add on all-wheel drive when you do it, each of which is a $2,000 upcharge, totaling $4,000. Now, today's purpose of the video is number one, to get you informed on this trim, but also to get your feedback. Do you think this is the best bang for your buck on the Kona? Because I certainly do. So we're gonna get right into it, starting off with the front end. We'll also talk powertrain, exterior, hop on the inside, talk tech, safety, everything, you name it. Now, if you do have any questions, because this is a live streamed car review, I'm here to see them. So while I'm filming, I'm also checking my screen to see what you're asking, and I will dedicate a couple minutes towards the end of the video to answer your questions in person. All right, let's do it. Let's get into it. I'm the camera woman and the reviewer today, so a little bit of multitasking is being done, hence why the hood is already open. I was worried about opening it on camera. Now, I'll first start off with the very front end. Now, all trim levels of the Hyundai Kona will come at you with LED headlamps. You'll notice that the main headlamp itself is positioned a little bit more on the off side of the vehicle, or at the very, very edge. However, it is in a good location, so it's not too low, not too high. You also have a full LED daytime running light. It doesn't expand all the way across the front end. Instead, it kind of blurs out towards the center. And then we have a little bit of a light bar finish. Even though it's not illuminated, it does extend a little bit towards the middle. And then, of course, repeated on the other side. I think it looks fantastic and definitely gives this vehicle a little bit of a RoboCop look. It has a very, very modern styling, so I'm very happy with the Kona refresh. Now, on the very front, you'll notice that we do have these rectangular slats here. These are active air shutters, so this will open and close to allow more cooling for your vehicle. It does so automatically, so you don't have to worry about engaging that yourself. The car will decide. On the lower portion, you'll notice a lot of bright finishes. So not completely black plastic. It doesn't have a boring or cheap look. We do have some very nice design integrated into the Kona. And with that design, we also get great tech. So right in the very center, we have this rectangular radar plate that is used for our smart cruise control system. It's a radar-based cruise control that allows you to set the following distance from the steering wheel. So if it's a little too funky for you, you're getting a little too close, you have 4 different presets, basically car lengths, to set your vehicle a bit further back or a bit closer. You can also take it a step further and change things like the reaction time, the acceleration, just to make it feel a little bit more like how you would normally drive. That's one of the many safety functions on this vehicle, and I promise I'll touch more on them as we go around the car. Let's talk powertrain next. Oop, sorry about that, you guys. It's a little hard to flip the camera. Under the hood, we have a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine. Now, this is actually the highest trim level you can get in the Kona lineup while still retaining the naturally aspirated engine. Every trim level above this will come with a turbocharged option instead, which could be your preference, maybe not, but this one will be more fuel efficient. We get 147 horsepower with 132 pound-feet of torque. Your fuel consumption will be about 8.6 liters per 100 kilometers combined. And of course, if you are primarily driving this vehicle on the highway, you can expect it to be a little bit better. I believe it was rated at 8.1 liters per 100. Now, with that being said, this crossover is all-wheel drive in the Preferred with Trend package. The all-wheel drive system actually has a front-wheel drive bias, so if you're driving on a regular dry pavement, your vehicle will act a bit more efficiently, thanks to the fact it's not going to be full-time all-wheel drive. The wheels are pretty funky, so these are 18-inch alloys, almost a star-shaped design, and it's a machined finished wheel too. So you get a mix of the beautiful gloss black, but we also have some light design elements. Something that I think looks very good. I know a lot of people are all about the all-black wheel. I don't know, you guys, a little bit of bright didn't hurt nobody. Surrounding your wheels, you'll notice we have pretty large black plastic arches. Now, it's not a complete black. I know it looks a lot lighter on camera, much like a gray. In person, it's not too drastic of a color difference. Now that I see it on the screen, it looks very, very different. It's very much a gunmetal finish. It's got a little bit of satin sheen, so it does give it a bit more of a premium look rather than just rocking with regular flat black plastic. All right, let's take a look at our tires. So we got a soleless all-season tire. If you're looking for the size, it's 215/55 R18. So these are 18-inch diameter alloys for the all-wheel drive preferred trend. Another item that the trend package adds on is going to be digital key entry. So you'll notice both the driver and passenger front door handles will have not a button, but an indent. This means I still get proximity access. As long as the key's on me, I simply walk up to the handle, grab it, and my car will unlock, but I can also unlock, start, and drive my vehicle from my phone. Pretty handy, and also great if you frequently loan your car out to a friend. You can just give them the digital key instead of your physical key fob. All right, a couple more exterior design elements. You'll notice we have a beautiful satin chrome belt line on the vehicle, so expanding all the way towards the spoiler, and then right past your windows towards the front end. I think this looks fantastic. Beautifully blends in the light elements with the wheels too. So we got a mix of nice and dark, but there's also some brightness. Your mirrors have an LED turn signal indicator. We also have integrated blind spot detection. And while we're on the topic of safety, let's talk about a little bit more. And I'm just gonna put you guys down here because it's easier than me running around with the camera. So standard functions on this vehicle will be forward collision avoidance assist, which will pick up pedestrians, cyclists, and of course other motorized vehicles. We also have a fantastic lane keeping safety system. Sorry, that was a mouthful. Essentially, it's two separate functions that operate fairly similarly. I know a lot of people have questions about this. One's called lane keep assist, the other is called lane follow assist. Lane keep assist essentially gives you a notification inside the vehicle if you're starting to ride towards the lane and gives you some slight correction. Lane follow assist sees what's happening ahead of time, so if there's a bend in the road, and steers your vehicle based off what's going to happen. Of course, neither of which are very helpful if you're driving on a dirt road, but they are very, very helpful in the city, and either of which can be turned off if you're not a fan of it. On top of that, we still have that smart cruise control that I mentioned earlier. All right, let's take a look towards the back end of the vehicle, and we'll also talk about dimensions for the cargo area. So the Kona is actually very impressive. It looks like a smaller crossover, and it drives like a smaller crossover. It's not intimidating to park, it's not hefty on fuel, but the inside, we have 723 liters of cargo space. I promise I'll open it in a second. First though, let's take a look at the tail lamps. Extending all the way across the back end of the car, nice and bright, very futuristic, just like what we see on the front end. We've got our reverse lights and our side indicators as well. Not positioned too low on this vehicle, so I know we do get a lot of questions about that on some of our other Hyundai models, but no, they are not positioned too low on the Kona. For badging, you have your nicely stamped in Hyundai emblem, and then Kona, very, very spaced out, very modern lettering, and again, very low profile. Don't mind that horrendous watermark. Get a beautiful high definition rear view camera too, which we'll show you guys on the inside. And then for our rear bumper, we have that same light finish that we had up at the front on the vehicle. So a bit of a satin, I don't want to say chrome, but definitely lighter. And then more of that gunmetal just above. So lots of mixed materials on this car. However, because they're repeated on both the front end and the sides, and then the rear, it looks good. It's not just a bunch of stuff in the front and nothing in the back. Let's open the car up and check out the space for ourselves. So right now we actually have the floorboard on its lowest position, so this is giving us our maximum cargo capacity. You'll notice this little lip on the side. Now that's where you can have it flush with the back end of the car, so that way if you're loading stuff in and it's quite heavy, you can just slide it right in, it's not going to drop down. So multi-level cargo floor. Towards the sides, you have a very, very convenient drop cargo room, cargo space, perfect for washer fluid. And then you do have some clips as well, should you choose to add on a cargo net. There's LED lighting back here. And instead of a spare tire, we have a tire mobility kit, so essentially a sealant and air compressor kit. This cargo cover is removable, so it just simply clips on to your liftgate here. Unclip it, you can keep it in your cargo area, tuck it away somewhere in your house, but super easy to remove if you're not a fan of it. But it is nice to have it integrated with the car at purchase. All right, let's close it up. Again, kind of hard to do while filming. We do have a regular rear wiper and then a little bit of a spoiler, which I showed a bit earlier. Very nice to see it in that satin chrome finish. Satin chrome looks good, definitely adds a premium exterior look, but it's not too high scratch the way piano black would be or gloss black would be on the outside. For your fuel tank, it's a 47-liter tank, so that does not hurt to fill up at the fuel pump. Very, very regular size tank. I had the same thing in my Forte. I was about $60 per fill up. That's with Ontario fuel prices right now. And yeah, it's just regular unleaded fuel, so nothing too crazy over there. Another quick look at the wheel arches along the back. So they are a little bit more bold than what we'd see on some of our other vehicles, but because they are in that nice, not exactly matte black or plastic black look, it does look more premium. So it's not too rugged, definitely more refined. All right, before I hop in, I'll show you guys the interior. Here's where the trend package really takes it away. We get leatherette interior. If you're not a fan of a light interior, do not worry. There is also a black option available, which is a little bit more what we see here in Canada. You got a height adjustment for your driver's seat as well as your backrest. And of course, should you choose to move your seat a little closer further back, you have your manual release underneath the seat. The door itself, okay, so the trend package adds in these silver painted door handles. You get modern looks to your buttons. Everything functions the way most cars do, so left and right for your mirror. They are heated as well. And then we got our lock, unlock, and our window controls. It's notable that our driver and passenger front windows have express up and down. You also have your child lock and window lock, and then our bottle holder. All right, I'm gonna hop in, you guys, and start yapping. Warning, flip the camera. All right, couple things I want to talk about on the cabin of the Kona before I start showing you everything. It is very modern. If you're comparing this to the current Kia Seltos, there are a couple advantages towards getting the Kona if you are someone who appreciates technology. We have standard over-the-air software updates, so very nice to have. And regardless of your trim level, you will get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on a larger screen. So I'll show you what I'm talking about now. All right, our center display, 12.3 inches of fully touchscreen real estate. You got your date and time up at the top and user profiles. So right now it's in guest, but of course if this was your vehicle, you'd have your own profile. That means anytime I save something, let's say Bluetooth connection wise or just media wise, it will be saved to my select profile. We've got a customizable display too. So if I never use valet mode, I can toss that away to another screen and have all of my relevant information on my first display. Slide over and we have a couple more nitty gritty changes. So if you would like to make changes to the driver assistance or safety systems on your vehicle, you can do so under the vehicle setup menu. Over here, I did mention earlier that the smart cruise control can be changed to be a bit more up to speed for how you drive. Here's where you'll do so. Now, everything can be changed back, so don't worry, you're not breaking your car by doing this. It's just a matter of making it more your car. I love this interface, so easy to use, and they've integrated a lot of just nice to have things that are in button format. So again, reject modernity, embrace tradition. We have real buttons and real dials. So great to have. One of which is a map button. So even though this vehicle does not have in-house navigation, this map button will jump you into your select mapping service. So if you have your phone connected via your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, Google Maps, Apple Maps, doesn't matter, press that, it'll jump you right into that map screen. So nice to have, especially if it's your passenger that's making these changes and they don't understand your car. It's pretty easy to understand the map button. Another great function that they've introduced recently is a search button. So we like to call this Google for your car. If there's ever something you can't find and you couldn't see it on the Kia Hyundai channel either, type it in under the search and you'll find it. So let's do date and time. I'm just gonna type in date. There we go, date and time, and it'll take me right there. So super easy, especially if this is your first new car in a while. All right, let's talk about more driver-centered things. So our digital instrument cluster, it actually only has this 4.2-inch center display, which you can really cycle through and change. You have a full-time speedometer and tachometer, so that'll always be on display and it's always digitized. You got your distance to empty and your fuel gauge. Let's see if I can zoom in. The chats are in the way. There we go. And then in the very center, you'll see things like your select gear, as well as the maximum speed limit, your temperature outside, and then of course the odometer of your vehicle. So it's very nice to have the speedometer and tach always displayed. And that way, whatever you want to look at in the middle is totally up for grabs based off of your choosing. So you got your refueling trip, we've got our lane system safety, and then our all-wheel drive torque distribution, as well as your tire pressure monitor. Really great to see the all-wheel drive torque distribution while you're driving. You can kind of see when you're launching your vehicle, more power coming from the rear versus when you're just cruising on the highway and your vehicle is fully in front-wheel drive. A couple more things I want to point out have to do with the steering wheel. Pretty much everything you can think of you might want to change while driving is accessed here, so you don't have to flip through screens while you're driving. Of course, you want to maintain driving. All right, let's take a look, and I promise a lot of this will sound confusing on video, but once you get behind the wheel, it's just nice and simple. So everything that has to do with driving is done on the left-hand side. So we can turn on our cruise control, set our speed, so of course increase or decrease from the plus and minus, and then you'll set your following distance with the button underneath. If you'd like to turn on or off your lane systems, press that. A quick press will turn on the steering assistance. A long press will turn on or off the beeping whenever you start to divert from your lane. So there's a little fun fact if you guys didn't know. On the right-hand side, it has more so to do with media. So you've got your digital assistant or your virtual assistant here, as well as your volume controls, a button for your phone, a favorites button, and this button to cycle through your stations. So if you're listening to Bluetooth audio, that will go to your next song or reverse your previous song. And then of course, if you're listening to the radio, to go to your next station, previous station, that kind of thing. All right, so I just wanted to, I was laughing while I was pointing at the buttons on the steering wheel because my nails are done, but not my index fingers. They came off. All right, let's take a look at what's on the side. We got our brightness adjustment. With great screens comes great brightness, and if these are too dim or bright for you at night, you can change it on the fly. And then we've got our traction control, our downhill braking assist, and our electronic parking brake. Everything is backlit in blue, which you can probably tell during the daytime, but at nighttime, again, everything is still very easy to see. I quickly mentioned these buttons, but I'll go over them again. You got your start and stop button, a dial for your volume, a dial for your tune knob, and then everything in between does exactly as it says. It'll jump you to whatever screen you push on. So setup is just a quick way to get there, and then from here, I can select whatever kind of setup I would like to change. Right below is our climate control. So on the Trend package, it will be your introductory trim level to dual zone. That means myself and my passenger can have separate temperatures, or we can sync them right up. You've got your auto climate control here as well, your recirculated or fresh air, and then your temperature select with the plus, sorry, not the plus and minus, but the red and the blue, of course, with everything being digitally displayed on this small screen. AC and sync are right over here, as well as your front and rear defrost. This part is going to be a little hard to film and talk about just because of the angle my arm's on, but we're trying. We've got our USB-Cs in the very center. The one that's backlit in amber is going to be for both data connectivity and charging, or just charging. So you can press this little button here to cycle between what it does. The one to the right will be simply for charging, and then right over here, we have a wireless phone charger. Another option that starts on the preferred with Trend trim. So that is part of the $2,000 upgrade. Your drive mode select is done with this toggle here. And we've got a normal mode, a sport mode, and a snow mode. Snow mode will just change your torque distribution to be a little bit more stable in snowy conditions. Similarly, we have a button for our locking differential for the all-wheel drive system, so that'll do a full 50-50 split if you're in really inclement weather or trying to get unstuck. Heated steering wheel right over here with 2 different levels, and then our heated seats. 3 different levels of heat for your seats. Should you want to look at your camera while you're parked, you can press on the camera button and it'll show you. There's actually a couple different viewpoints too, so if you want a wide view, you can pull that up. And then if you want a drop-down view, you can do that as well. However, every time you throw your car into reverse, it'll automatically come up, so you don't have to worry about pressing it each time. The center is kind of funky. So our cup holders, Charlotte and I like to call this our little maze. Earlier on when we were driving back, I had my phone sitting here, and then when I accelerated, it just flew back. It's interesting, but it's your cup holders. They do exactly what they're supposed to do. The very, very center console storage area is a little bit strange. This little cube here is actually the only part that is covered. Everything below that is actually open, but again, still functions as you'd expect it to be. Passenger seat is empty. Usually it's me sitting in there and Charlotte's talking about the interior. We miss her dearly. But the seat, you can see what we've got for design. Funky little 4 dots, which is Morse code for H if you didn't know. The light interior definitely makes this inside feel very premium as well as very spacious. It's not like this vehicle is that small. Sure, it's a compact crossover, but it's never really cramped for space. However, a lighter interior always makes things feel a little bit extra spacious. I'm going to quickly show the storage area here. So we got a little bit of an upstairs shelf, and then just below is our standard glove box. As I come around to the back, I'm going to show you guys our passenger seat, just because we have some great controls that not a lot of compact vehicles seem to offer. And that is a height adjustable passenger seat. So you won't really be able to see it in action because I can't sit in there and show you an outside view at the same time, but I'll explain the controls. So if I were to give this a pumping upward motion, it'll pump the seat up to increase the height. And then if I were to pump it downwards, it'll drop the seat down a bit more too. So however you like to sit, there's a way to configure it in the passenger seat as well as the driver's seat. And they're the same seat. All right, so let's take a look at the back of the Kona. Again, very nice that they included the same design and materials from the front end towards the back. It feels just as premium. So we got those silver painted door handles, the all white for the door, as well as a bottle holder on the bottom, and then our window controls. It's worth noting that this is a very, very nice feeling material. So it's not a leather or leatherette, but it's very smooth, very silky. And then for our back seats, we do have car seat tethers for our main seats. In the very middle, there's a drop down cup holder armrest. Check that out. Nice sized cup holders. And I'm just gonna put that back up to show you guys our vents. So again, great to have in a compact crossover. We've got rear air vents and 2 USB-Cs. There's also a fair amount of storage. Very hard to tell because everything is all black here, but very deep storage, perfect size for a phone that could be charging. All right, I'm gonna try something new, you guys. Might be an awkward angle, but I wanna show you guys what it's like to sit in here. So I will drop the gimbal right over here. It's gonna be my little passenger. And then I'm going to sit back and relax in the Kona. I can't even show you guys the headroom right now. All right, this is not a good example, but right now I'm seated. I'm fully sat back, so back to the seat, and I still have that much headroom. So really official measurement, you guys. But it is a very, very comfortable back seat. Does not feel crowded at all. I've got the seat ahead of me reclined quite a bit, and my feet are not touching the seat ahead of me. I have room underneath should I choose to put my feet there, but I've got about half of my forearms worth of space over there. All right, again, really official stuff, you guys. Did you expect anything else from the Kia Hyundai channel? All right, let me answer some questions from you guys, see what you have to say about the Kona, and if you think the preferred with trend package is the best buy. Again, the price is $32,949 Canadian. You get a lot in this specific trim level, so if a more advanced or tech-savvy trim level is your preference, this might be the preferred trim for you. Get it? Because it's called the preferred with trend. Again, quick breakdown of what this $2,000 package adds on, which is actually a $4,000 package, is going to be the leatherette seats, a power sunroof, digital key, those silver painted door handles, dual climate control too, and then a wireless phone charger. So those are the main things that the trend package adds on. And I think for $2,000, which is actually $4,000, it's not a bad trim. Not bad at all. We just got asked if the sunroof is standard with the trim package. Yes, so it starts on this trim and it carries over to all the higher trims above. Can it be upgraded to a panoramic? No, but I will show you the sunroof because I just realized I did not show earlier. So let's wake the car back up, press the start button twice to put in electrical mode, and I'll push the sunroof back. So it's not your standard sunroof that we've had in some of our compact models. It is a wide style sunroof. So it's actually quite a fair bit larger than what we're used to. It is very, very wide. Doesn't go all the way towards the back seats, but we do still get a good view out of it. So right now I'm fully sat back in my seat and I can still see up and outside. Again, this light interior is an optional add-on, not add-on, it's not something you have to pay for, but it is an option, so you do not have to get this. If you prefer more of a classic black interior, you're in luck. We've got that. And again, just a quick recap about what makes this trim level special. I already mentioned what it adds on, but this is also the highest trim level you can get without getting the turbocharged engine. So if fuel efficiency is a must for you, this vehicle will perform a bit better in that department. You get the all-wheel drive with the multi-link rear suspension, so as far as Ontario roads go, or just Canadian roads, if you've experienced lots of bumps and just not great, that suspension will make things a little bit smoother and give you a bit better handling as well. All right, so let's see what else you guys have to say. Is there hooks in the for baby seats? Oh my gosh, the chats keep moving. Is there hooks for baby car seats in every seat in the back or only the center? So it's only going to be the main seat, so the left and right seat. The very center seat does not have hooks. Don't go to Hamilton with your new car. Funny you say that. So yesterday I went to go buy Wii remotes. I'm big into playing my Wii again. And I had to drive on Barton Street in Hamilton. It's rough out there. It is very rough. That road is bad. Tips when speaking into the camera. Where do you focus at on the camera? I kind of look at myself, I'm not gonna lie. It's also because the way my phone's set up right now, it has two black pillars on either side, and I don't know which side the camera's on. So, scroll up a little bit. Just got here, does it have rear vents and a flat floor? So the floor is not going to be flat because we have all-wheel drive, so your drivetrain's running down the middle, but we do have rear air vents. There is a little bit of a hump in the very center seat, which I'm actually sitting in right now. You can see that I am not in the fetal rocking position. I am fairly relaxed, so I could do a long road trip like this. And there is room for me to put one leg on either side if I want to relax a little bit more or stretch my legs out. I'm cutting my forehead off. There we go. Someone asked, where's Hamilton? Hamilton's about 30 minutes from Brantford, if you're familiar with Ontario. And if you're not familiar with Ontario, maybe you've heard of Toronto before. Hamilton's about an hour from Toronto. Pat said, greetings from Argentina. Hey, Pat. Gabby, you're doing a great job. What's Tim doing that's so important you couldn't shoot a video? Tim doesn't like being on camera. He thinks you guys don't like him. I said they love you. And now with that being said, you guys, I think it's time for me to end off today's video. It's a little bit of a long one, but I'm hoping I was able to answer some of your questions and clear things up on the trend package. Again, quick recap of what it adds on. I can't help myself. I feel like I got to repeat this so many times. We've got our 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine with an IVT, which stands for Intelligent Variable Transmission, plus all-wheel drive. Technology-wise and upgrade-wise, we get a panoramic sunroof, dual climate control, as well as our digital key. There's also going to be a wireless phone charger, leatherette seats, which come in this light interior option, and silver painted door handles. So those are going to be your main trend package add-ons. And I know I joked around that it's actually a $4,000 upgrade. That is because to get the trend package, you must also add on all-wheel drive, which is $2,000 in itself, plus trend, which is another $2,000, bringing the grand total to $32,949 Canadian before taxes and fees. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again on tomorrow's live stream at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be talking about a Kia vehicle. Take care, brush your hair. We'll see you tomorrow. I can't end it.